Hello there. Miyama Xiang here, and I am the leader of the Trailblazer Oasis, or people who are different minded but like hearted come together to be able to build what comes next when the path of following other people's plans is no longer the way that they're headed. It's interesting because one of the things that I love to do is I've been noticing my language over the past few weeks. I love to play. And there's this it comes up in the language. You'll hear it when you're watching this or when you're in a conversation with me. There's a certain point where things will switch up for me, and I'll just say something along the lines of "want to play." And I've been finding that play is one of my core values. And it's interesting because the work that I do is really serious. It can be like we're talking our greatest fears, we're talking our greatest challenges, our greatest aspirations, the impact that we want to make on the world, not just to the individuals in front of us, but being here in service of something greater than ourselves. And yet play still comes into the mix. And I think that as I allow myself to lean more into that value there, we're actually seeing far better results. So what I want to do right now is just share a story of play that happened for me in my life. It might be on one surface, on one level, it might feel like it's completely unrelated to coaching. And yet at the same time, it's part of the reason that element of play, it's part of the reason why I can simply hit record and come out and just be with all of you here. So I wanted to share this as a way for you to maybe think back to something in your life that might have felt frivolous, but might have felt just like you, just like a very natural and joyful expression of you. And then, well, let's start off with that. And then later on, we can see how we can tie that into our life, our work, our leadership, our business, and our impact. All right. I'm taking today back to, I used to work in New York City. When I graduated college, I went to work for one of the big four consulting companies. And we worked down on Wall Street and right next to the Charging Bull in New York City. There's actually been a few different movies that have featured the bull, and I've seen my office. I'm like, oh yeah, that was me. I was working there. Well, we in this particular day, it was a summer day, and all of our colleagues left the office to go and get some drinks down at this place called Stone Street. And if you can imagine Stone Street, there's kind of like a uh, cobblestone street. No cars come up and down that street. And on Fridays, they just put out a bunch of picnic benches where like these 10 to 12 different restaurants all come out and people get a chance to be able to drink and eat and just like have happy hours and do different things together. So it's a really lively experience. There's hundreds of people there every Friday in the summer. It's a really great time. Well, with this time, it was my first year in working from there, and what ended up happening was we were having our happy hour. And I had an inspiration. I looked around. I was like, there are hundreds of people here. I would love to get them to do something together. I stood up off the park bench and walked around to the table next to me. And my friends were looking at me, but I was like, I'll be back. I walked to the table next to me and I said, hey, one of our friends, today's her birthday, and I'd love to get this entire place to sing happy birthday to her. When we start singing happy birthday, would you say happy birthday, Heather? I went around and I went from table to table out there, one table at a time, asking and just inviting them to be a part of this experience. What was really cool about it was that before I had finished the entire round, I had gotten two other people with two other birthdays to also come and join there. So by the end of it, it would end up being like Heather, Amy, and Mike. The fun part about this year, the funny part to me, is that it wasn't Heather's birthday. I just wanted to get everyone to sing. So we ended up doing it. And then for about like 12 seconds, the entire street just stopped what they were doing and all sang happy birthday in there. And it was the fun. She then came up and said, my birthday's next week. So thank you. Like I'm taking this year. But there's this element of being able to play in such a way that really might have felt uncomfortable for a lot of others, but it was just what I wanted in that moment and be able to create something magical from it. Some takeaways that I'm getting in the reflection right now and how it's continued to play for me here is, A, I realized that I'm really good at getting people's attention. I know how to to divert their attention to where I would love it to be. And I've been practicing that well before I started getting hundreds of people to start singing happy birthday just because I wanted to. The second part there is it really comes down to enrollment, and some of these things I'm finding when it comes to bringing in different clients and building the tribe, the Trailblazer tribe. I enrolled them in a story and an experience of what it was going to be there, some of these elements here that might seem frivolous on one level are the same tools that I'm using now to continue to have the movement move forward. So I would take some time really quickly to think about it for yourself. What's something that just brings you joy, a memory that just like really, really stands out for you? And with that, what are one or two takeaways that you can start applying to make your leadership and your impact more uniquely you and with far less effort? Today, we get a chance to just slow down and play with Lisa. Lisa, I am really, really thrilled to have you on, to just have an experience of spending time with you here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute you, and I'd love for you to just introduce yourself to all of us here. And my ask here, Lisa, is that we get a chance to play, right? And what I'd love to do is, right, let's do it. In this space here, I'd love to just give us a chance to get to know you. And the way I would love to look at this here is from your journey. On the outside, when people look at you, Lisa, what is it that they think? What is your outer journey, your outer accomplishments? It's almost like your bio, your hit reel, your highlights reel. And please, please, please feel free to enter the brag zone on this. We really want to get a chance to see who you are out in the world, at least when it comes to an external perspective.
All right. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast. It's always a delight to spend time with you. Mm. So, when I think about how we first met, it was a few years ago, and it was in a Facebook group actually put together by Rich Lippman. And that was a really special moment. That was an important part of my journey. So, okay, let me start from the top. So I'm Lisa Connors Vogt. I'm an executive and leadership coach. I am coming to you today from Bethesda, Maryland, which is in the DC region. I am in my home office and my home recording studio because I also have a podcast/video series, and it is called Founders and Startups. And the reason that I'm doing Founders and Startups is because I love to coach founders of companies and their leadership teams. So sometimes I say founders and visionary leaders. A lot of times as coaches, we say we're always coaching ourselves, right? What do you do? You're coaching yourself. I'm a founder and a visionary leader, I think. So I think if you I know what you can see in the frame is a very small part of my office, but it's sort of, even the part that you can see kind of represents what goes on in my life, right? I love to travel. And one of the things I wanted to do when I quit my most recent corporate job 2 years ago was to travel on my own terms, spend time with the people I wanted to spend time with, make a living doing what I wanted to do, and which involved making an impact for others. So those are all very important things, and that's kind of represented by the maps. There's some very positive messages on this box, which is there's all kinds of stuff in that box, which is sort of arts and crafts and things that I use in different coaching sessions. Books. I love my books. I was an English major at Colgate University, and I'm doing a lot of work with Colgate University lately. I'm a mentor for their entrepreneur program there. Above that, you see a glass pumpkin. It looks black and white, but it's actually purple and white. Glass pumpkin blown at Corning Glass Museum. Then next to that is a picture. I don't know, I'm pointing the right way. That was actually from the first venture my husband and I created. We actually had an artist, and this is right when we got married, so it was 97. We worked with an artist, and she created some artwork for us, and we combined that with motivational messages. And then we copied those, and we framed them, and we attempted to sell them. We didn't sell them, but we attempted to sell them. And the company was called Artful Insights, which I still like that name, Artful Insights.
Mm-hmm. Strong name there.
Okay. So let me go back and fill in a couple other things. So I'm married to Tim. We've been married since 1997. Our son Connor is going to turn 21 on March 22nd, and he's at West Virginia University. So we're empty nesters. I've had a long career, 30-year career of corporate consulting, nonprofit. My husband and I owned a children's play facility for 7 years in Columbia, Maryland, which was a journey. So I said I went to Colgate University undergrad. I got my MBA in marketing and finance at University of Rochester. I've had a very non-traditional career. And today I come to you with my green sparkles on because that's how I feel right now. Like I am creating my life. I'm 55 years old and I'm creating the life that I want to live. And I'm super ecstatic about it. There we go. That's
Boom.
it. That's it.
I love this year. I feel like we're just going to have a lot of fun today. I feel like we're going to have a whole lot of fun. And even
I put on my green sparkles. My green sparkles so we can have some fun.
I'm wearing my pink shirt. This means that I'm ready for everything. And I can also be warm about it. And I think that's the,
it's good.
You created a bunch of these different things here. I would actually I would love to make sure we stay in the realm of fun and also get a chance to understand, like, all right, you've had a very non-traditional, like there's no part of your story that felt like, okay, I know what's coming next. Right. All these different things that you did. It was just like, oh, huh. And then there's artful insights, and then there's this, and then like, oh, they have the children's play facility. There's so much that's all in there. So I just want to let's see here. What I want to ask here. Well, I'll just ask you this question here. What about you makes you someone that is able to play in all those different arenas?
That's a good question. I'm super curious and I get bored pretty easily. So I love to explore different business arenas, and I love to meet different people with different perspectives and points of view and experiences. And I'm the person kind of like you who's always talking to people on the street or on the metro or wherever. Like I just talk to people, which sometimes drives my son crazy. He'll be like, Mom, you don't need to talk to everybody. And I'm like, well, yeah, actually I do. So
yeah, that one I get. Yeah. That I get. It's like, no. I actually do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So I think it's curiosity driven.
All right. Awesome. I feel that curiosity would be just a fun place to play with here in today's conversation. Like, so I'm getting this, what I want to make sure we get a chance to do here is, how do I say it? I want to make sure that we get a chance to just like spend some time slowing down and seeing where you are right now, right? So you're working with founders and visionary leaders. You're doing work with Colgate University. For this conversation, I want to give us a chance to be able to to see where you are now and where you're heading going forward, right?
Okay.
The elements of this for me that I think would really be here is just to enter in a place of service and coaching. There'll be more of your story that comes out. There'll be more about your clients that comes out as it naturally unfolds. But I want to give us actually just some time to not have to rush, and some time to just be able to be in the depth of our conversation. Right?
Okay.
So let me just ask you right now tell me a little bit more about your world as it currently exists. You're working with founders, you're working with visionary leaders. I would love to enter your world with you a little bit, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, it's an interesting point in time for me because let me go back to about 2 years ago. It was April 2018. I left my corporate job, my most recent corporate job. I was a director of marketing for an insurance company. And it was a great job. It's just not what I wanted to do. And I was coaching on the side. So I had a side hustle and I was creating my podcast called Ever Better. That was my first podcast, was called Ever Better. As I was working there, and I started coaching on the side. And so I started reaching out to different coaches and developing this network. This is where we met. I joined one of Rich Litvin's, it's called the 90-Day Money Game. And in there, I saw that a coach was offering 90 conversations in 90 days or something like that to expand his network and just be of service. And I said, okay, well, podcasting is something that I know I'm going to offer. I want to get 10 new podcasts into the world, and I want to help people do that. And I put that in the Facebook group, and you reached out and you introduced me to a couple people, which was really cool. And then we had a conversation. when I decided that it was time to leave my job, I said to my boss, I'm willing to stay as long as you want, but on a Thursday, April 19th, I'm getting on a flight to LA and I'm going to Rich Litvin intensive weekend. So that's my cutoff. And she was like, all right. So I did. So I stayed through Wednesday, and then Thursday I got on a flight to LA, went to an intensive in Santa Monica, and we met there in person, which was super cool. It was a great weekend. Met so many people, really helped to evolve my coaching and my outlook on who I wanted to coach. I think I started out doing a lot of career coaching, like helping people to identify what they want to do with their lives and then helping them to land that job, identify that job they want and then land it. Because I'm a marketing communications person, I'm really good at helping people with resumes and their LinkedIn profile. And it was, sort of those clients came to me. What I've realized is that's not my zone of genius. Like, it's a zone of excellence, but not my zone of genius. Does that track with you?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, let's slow that down a little bit here first, because I get that language, but like, I just really wanted to see, well, I get that language and what it means to me. Tell me about the distinction between zone of excellence and zone of genius for you.
Yeah. So I can, if you send me your resume right now, I can look at that and I can be like, oh, change these things to optimize it and have a greater impact. And, I've just done so much marketing and reading and whatever. It just comes easily to me, but it doesn't, it doesn't light me up, and it's not the thing that really sets me apart from so many other people. And it's not pulling in all my other talents.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Lisa, if you like this concept of zone of genius versus zone of excellence, it comes from Gay Hendricks. She wrote the book, The Big Leap. I talk about it. It comes up a lot to how I think about things as well. But what I'm hearing from you is that you were good at doing it. You were excellent at seeing what these resumes needed. But was it anything that was like really in your like your true core talents? Was it anything that actually felt effortless? The way I like to look at it is, were you able to get a disproportionate amount of value for the amount of effort that you put in? And while you were good at it, I get the sense that in order to be a marketing director of this and to like have multiple businesses and to like continue to reinvent yourself however you want, you're someone who can be good or even excellent at a whole lot of things. And,
right.
And what I'm hearing from you is that you recognize that and you decided, actually, I want to continue to distill more about what is truly genius about me and where I can play. Am I getting that right?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. And so where I'm giving the most value to my clients and to the world is helping people to identify where they want to go strategically and what is most fulfilling to them. A part of that is certainly helping them brand themselves. I just sort of naturally do that, but to have those discussions about what's your business look like, how are you shaping it, what do you want to achieve, what's your big leap, what's your zone of genius, it's more expansive for me. And I think, it's just something that I'm always working at it. I'm always working at it, just like you. I'm always working at my craft and investing in myself. To be able to be even more effective at that, but it's something that I love doing, and I think I'm really effective at it, and I get great feedback, from my clients. So I only a few weeks ago made a decision. I mean, I've been coming to this decision, you think about it. And just last week, I turned down a couple of clients that were really focused on, I need to change careers. I need help with my resume. And I was like, that's not my focus right now. I think I'll always have one or two clients because there's certain people that I just love to help, and if I can help them and do that, and I have the time to do it, I'll always help a couple people. But I do want to put most of my emphasis on helping the founders and the visionary leaders who have those career paths that are kind of like mine, which is totally non-traditional, and they're envisioning something that no one else would envision.
Yeah, I really want to acknowledge you for that there. I'm thinking, as you were saying, it took me to my experience with Actuarial Journey and the work that I was doing with actuaries at the time. And it wasn't until, I would say, about like 10 months ago that I finally, that's even me being generous to myself, it's probably more like 8 months ago, that I finally, like after years, said, all right, I'm no longer working with people that are going down this path specifically. If you happen to be an actuary and you're also an unconventional person, you're taking something on with a non-traditional path, then great. Let's go ahead and talk. But not with that specifically as the outcome. And so I really just want to acknowledge you there, where it's like people are coming to you, they're asking for your help, and you're making a choice for yourself of like, this is actually no longer the direction that I'm going in. I just want to just like call that out.
Thank you. Thank you. And as you know, once you make that firm decision, those people start coming to you more and more.
Yeah.
And more people are starting their story with me of like, well, you won't believe this, but I've done this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I totally get it. And they're like apologizing along the way. I'm like, no, you're my people.
And let's slow that down just a little bit here, because because when you first said it, I was thinking about my experience of the moment that I said I was no longer working with actuaries. I started getting a bunch of people reaching out to me saying, I've listened to your podcast. I've been following you. I'd love to work with you. I'm like, oh, like I had energetically closed myself on that path. But it feels actually that you're saying at the moment that you said, I'm working with founders and visionary leaders, and allowed space for that, you started getting more of those people into your world. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe they've always been there. I'm putting more emphasis on them. That could be too. I've actively been putting in the past couple of years, you have more freedom when you quit your corporate job, right? You can go places that are more like play. We can talk about that in a second, and do things that are more like play. For me, it's play/work. It's just so enjoyable. And those places that I've been putting myself are places where other founders are.
Yep.
I
do.
So go ahead.
No. I just like what I'm hearing from you is that you brought up the glass pumpkin, and when you brought up the glass pumpkin, yeah,
the glass pumpkin,
yeah, it made me think of the book. I forget who wrote it, but it's called The Pumpkin Plan. I think it's called The Pumpkin Plan. The idea of it there is like, it's like if you want to build a really great huge pumpkin, you have to allow like the other things in the patch. You have to kind of prune away the other ones. And so what do you actually want to focus on? And what I'm hearing from you is that you've pruned off some of the things that you could do that were in your zone of excellence in order to create and give more nutrients, give more sunlight, give more space to like the thing within you that really has the greatest potential to grow and to make the impact, which is working with the people that you're currently working with. And as a result,
that's right,
things are just continuing to grow around it. Right.
And I say, saying no gives you the space to say yes to the things that are right for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Lisa, let's go ahead and like shift things here, because now I wanted to see a little bit of your world. I wanted to see where you are. And now what I want to do is take us from a place of like the context around where we all are, and just get into like really seeing for what it is that you're building here. Let's just slow down and we're both coaches. Let's get into real service around it. Right. And I just want to like create that space. And the fun part for me around here is, I know that in serving you this way with something specific that's on your mind or something that's on your heart, we'll also have a chance to continue to show how you navigate life in this, in the way that only you do. It's really quite wonderful. So let me ask you here. What's the thing right now that excites you, that feels like it might be just a bit beyond your reach? What's coming to mind right now of a project or a client or something that would really excite you that feels just a bit beyond your reach?
Well, I'm trying to, changing my wording. I am creating my business and putting myself out in the world where I am not putting limits on myself. So I am aware of it. It's in how you ask that question that I'm responding this way, because I don't want to say that anything seems out of reach. I might have said that before, but today I'm saying, what am I going after?
So what are you going after?
One podcaster to another. I'm rephrasing your question.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
My general thing here is, at the end of the day, the question is, what would make this an incredible conversation for you?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going after. I love working with people who have founded companies who are in that high growth phase. So they didn't found them yesterday. They didn't found them last week. They founded them maybe 2 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, or maybe even 20 years ago. But now they're in a position where they're really growing. Like maybe they just got in capital. Maybe they just got some funding. Maybe they just got some opportunity to expand, or there's a partnership, or they're merging or something like that. And they're coming to realize that they need additional assistance, expertise, a thought leader, a confidant as they navigate the waters of expansion. And I am currently working with several people like that, and would like to be working with them in more in depth and longer term. And so my goal is at the end of 2020 to have 3 solid companies that I'm working with, where I really have established a really good partnership with them, and I'm helping them to achieve the growth that they want to achieve, and then become really well known for that, where people are telling their friends, these founders are telling their friends, hey, I see you're doing a raise. I see you just raised $20 million. Talk to Lisa. She can help you when we're done with her. And so I want to help I want to be a partner for those companies to succeed. And so I love coaching the founders, but then also their leadership teams as well. And also if appropriate, to help their emerging managers come along, people who haven't managed before, people who are taking on new responsibilities, because of my broad background, I'm not afraid. Yeah,
I'm going to pause it really quickly here. Because I'm hearing this here. I actually I'm getting this. This feels really good, right? It also feels like it's very much on its way. It feels like this is the path that you're on, right? And so if we're going to really serve you, I'm I feel like there are places that we can go that feel either less clear, or there's another place that we can go in this conversation. So after you accomplish all that, which really just feels like it's on its way, right?
Okay.
What would be next for you?
In terms of my business, that's where I am right now. I'm putting a lot of effort into that, and I will be, there's a matter of fulfillment, what fulfills you. Mm-hmm. And that's super fulfilling for me to do that work. And it's still edgy for me. I'm not phoning it in. I don't think I ever will. I'm not I'm not totally comfortable. I am bringing my A game every time I have one of those conversations. And I love that. So, achieving that will help me to feel really, well, I do feel fulfilled right now, but, to sustain that fulfillment. I think then in my personal life, so then it becomes what do I do outside of that coaching? Because I would like to continue right now. I'm going to continue that for a while, because that's what I love doing. Mm-hmm. You might talk to me this time next year and I have a different story, but for right now, that's what I'm going after. Yeah. In my personal life, I'd like to do hit more of the spaces on the maps back there. And travel on my own terms, to be flying first class is a nice thing. Mm-hmm. And so I did something called Bright Line Eating. I started Bright Line Eating in November 2018. So it's been over a year. I don't eat sugar and flour. Mm-hmm. I eat very little sugar and flour. I'm 99.9%. I don't eat sugar and flour. I lost 30 pounds, and I've kept that off, and I'm super active. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm super active and energetic. And so I love that. So I want to maintain that lifestyle. It's also super helpful. If I have a full day of meetings, I know what food to pack. I weigh and measure my food, which before I did this, it sounded like batshit crazy. Can I say that on this podcast?
You can say it.
It sounded crazy to me. And then I started doing it, and then I was like, oh, actually this does work. So, so I'd like to keep doing that and keep the weight off. And then one thing around that was that I could wear whatever I wanted to wear, because when I'm at a certain weight, I can fit into many more clothes and have many more options. And that's just fun. That's part of playing for me, is I can wear the green sequin top, and that's cool. so, okay, so travel, fitness, my son will be, oh, go
I'm gonna
ahead.
ask this question here because what I
Yeah, go
want to
ahead.
do, Lisa, is so what I'm getting is like I'm like I feel like what it feels right now is like there's a lot that's going really well in your life, and you're like, all right, things are moving down that path, right? And I'm really happy to hear all that. What I want to make sure that I do is give you an opportunity. Is it? And you may not. It may just be like in this conversation, that's not where we go. But I'm going to just like, is there something that you love to get some coaching on? If so, let's go there, right? And I will trust that I don't need the context around it. It would be like, what's the question that's on your mind right now as you're looking for what's going forward? It may not, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
not there, then that's fine. Let's have our conversation and let's go. But what I don't want to do, especially because like I know that I'm willing to show up this way. What I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do is to let that opportunity pass without like calling it out explicitly.
Yeah.
And then if there's nothing there, then we're good. Like we don't need to force anything on that. But I do want to make sure that I am calling that out. So let me ask you: are you interested in coaching today? Is there anything in there that you like to bring in for some coaching around? And if not, we can have a really good conversation and do some things differently.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I'm working on is my rates for coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's sort of like the ongoing journey for coaches, for a lot of us. So yeah, we could do some work around that. That would be helpful.
Okay.
I've been documenting the impact that I make and documenting my rates and, practicing doing that for 2020, which is an increase over what I've done before. So, yeah, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I don't have a real question here yet to like really work with just yet. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
like when it comes to you and your rates, what's the question on your mind? Like what's either the challenge around it or like what is it about the rates there? I can make up some things in my mind, but like help guide me to where you actually are with it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't need the specific numbers. I'm just trying to understand like what about this makes it something that you would want to work on.
So I should be charging based on the value that I bring to clients. And I'm getting a better understanding as I work with clients, I'm getting a better understanding of what that is. And a lot of them are giving me feedback, letting me know my value, and which is awesome. So I've actually started a log with a prompting from one of my clients. He's like, he's like, you're making me create a log of wins. You need to be creating a log of things that you're helping me and other clients with. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Exactly right. So, so keeping track of that, which helps me to understand my value and really putting myself out there as a high impact coach for high impact visionary leaders. So, and really like believing that about myself and representing that in everything that I do is something that I'm studying and I'm actively working on.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for going there. Thank you for doing the process, doing your work to like really capture what it is, capture the value that you're bringing to these organizations and seeing that there.
Yeah.
Are you interested in playing? Like for me, I think that the thing that would be really fun is just to explore this from a completely different perspective. I want to see if you're interested.
Sure. Help me.
Okay.
Help me.
All right, cool. So the question in my mind is this: when it comes to your rates and things like that, what if your value was irrelevant? All right, in my mind, like I spend time with you, even in this conversation. Right. I'm getting I'm getting value from being in this conversation with you. So if when it came to your rates, your value was irrelevant, how would you go about setting your rates then?
If my value was irrelevant.
Yeah. You said that you're like you do your rates based on the value you bring to your clients. And if that was irrelevant,
right.
we're like, I'm trying to make sure I'm All right, I'm gonna lead a little bit more first, and then
Okay.
let's see what comes from there.
Okay.
I'm going to posit that the value you bring to your clients is irrelevant, right? And that feels edgy for me to say in this case here, but the question that comes to my mind here is really around what is the value that your clients are going to bring to themselves as a result of you being there. If they
Oh,
have
oh,
their or
good. I like
yeah
that.
yeah tell me what's coming up to you
Yeah.
when I say that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's right. Because I'm partnering with them so that they can unlock their value, so that they can play bigger in their lives and in their businesses. And they can make bigger deals. They can say no to the deals that are wrong. They can make bigger partnerships. They can hire the people they need to hire. They can have the conversations that they need to have
Yep.
in order to be more successful in their lives.
So let's
Yeah.
let's play that out here, right? If the impact of you just listed out a number of different uh, things that they get as a result of
Mm-hmm.
in their business as a result of working with you, what is the impact for them? Let's just, since we're talking rates here, what's what like the financial impact, if you had like a range on that there, what might that financial impact be for them if they're able to get all these things in alignment and be able to unlock all those different things that you're talking about?
I guess it depends on the size of the business. So let's say, um, I don't know, $1 million a year.
Yeah. So the thing that I find is whatever the size of the business is, from more of like a tactical perspective here, and there's another level that I'm going to go down afterwards, but I just wanted to go here
Okay.
first. There's an element of their vision
Yes.
is really what it is that they're investing in. Right. And you'll notice with me when it comes to rates and all these things, you'll hear me. I never say cost or anything like that because I do look at it as as an investment. And I'm really
Yes, I do
curious
too.
about what is that return for them. And based on that, in addition to a number of other things, if you're getting $1 million plus worth of return from spending time with you there, it actually does give you a completely different framework to look at what those look at what the investment is that you're asking them.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah.
They are investing in their vision. I love that.
They're not investing in
Thank
you.
you.
They're not
Right.
like
They're investing in their vision. Yes, that's right.
yeah, and you're the person that they're choosing to help bring that vision to life here. But like
Yep.
that, it does. I have noticed for myself when I did that, it completely changed the nature of my conversations. It also allowed me to relax. And
Mm-hmm.
it gave me a chance to go after the people that I actually wanted to be working with, because now all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I'm looking for people who have a vision that inspires me, for
Yeah.
the amount that I want to, for the amount that my investments start at. Your vision needs to be at a certain level in terms of either a financial impact or in terms of just social impact for it to even make sense to really work with me on that level, right?
Right.
For what my investment begins at, and it's changed the nature of the relationship, not for the better, right?
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah, I
ask
love
you.
that. That's
Yeah.
a great way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. So under let me see here. What else would serve you around either the rates or something else for you? There's another direction I can go with this here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that would serve you around this first.
Yeah. So they're investing in their vision. Yes. Which is what we say as coaches. I'm not consulting.
Yeah. And there's a thing about it here where it's like, it's less about like what we all say, right? And more about like you, right? Like because there's a way of that there that can almost like diminish like the actual truth behind that sentence there, right? We do say it, but a lot of people say like, you're invested in your vision, and they're like, let me tell you about my value to you. Like they'll just, the disconnect isn't there. Sorry, the disconnect still is there. So I do want to slow that down there. It is. Yeah, that's all I need to say. I'll just slow down.
Okay.
Slow down there a little bit.
Okay.
There's a question here that comes from me here where it's like around, and this part doesn't feel like if you choose to go down this one road, then you may not need to come here. But I think it goes back to you being like your zones of excellence and genius, and around like the value validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something around this right now where like the number that you want to charge here, or the number that you want to be asking for right now, is there something that is stopping you from asking for those numbers right now?
Oh, just my, yes. Sometimes I stop and think, can this person afford that? Mm. And that's part of the decision to say, this is who I'm working with and this is who I'm not working with. Mm-hmm. Right. So I do that. I need to, that's something I'm working on myself, like stop doing that. Cause that's not, they can come up with the money if they have the vision and they want the vision to come to fruition. So that's part of it. And then, yeah,
I would say like, and even taking it a step further, cause I'm thinking right now, for me, especially as my rates continue to increase as well, the investment that continues to increase. What I found is that it's also an amazing gift to give people a chance to basically to hold them in their own power to make the decision. Right. There's something I've found around the proposals where I used to get really nervous. I'm like, okay, here it is. It's it's make or break time. And I was thinking, and had it a lot as my own personal reflection on me. But what I started to offer into the world was an element of, what if this was a great gift to them? What if all of a sudden they get a chance to say, this is what I say that I want, and you give them a path to do it, and they get a chance to like kind of get an internal gift of being able to be checked against that there. So I want to offer that as well, just as a way of being able to like, almost meet them in their power and give them a chance to explore that as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's really good. I think another reason that I have the inner dialogue about my rates is I think, well, I need this client, like, right? And I need that revenue. I'm letting that go. 2020, I'm letting that go. Because this is where the more I do this, the more I believe in my ability to make an impact and help people to achieve their vision. And so if that person doesn't want to make the investment with me, bye. Then so be it. And there's someone else that's going to come along saying no. If they say no, that's fine. That opens up space for the right people to work with me. And go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm finding myself really like right here as you're saying some of these things here. I'm like, okay, I feel like you got what you need around that. There's some different things that you can play with around that, but like you're willing to look at that from a different place. I'm finding myself really curious about like what would really excite you. Like you are someone who can play and be around fun. There's an element of this here that almost feels like what feels really practical. And what might be available, what can they afford, what is my value on here, and in my mind, I'm imagining that might cap you from being able from going for what it is that you would really, really love to do. So, like, I would love to hear from you, just given you, Lisa, and your track record of success and beyond there, like. If there was one like visionary leader founder experience that you could have right now, like what might that involve? What might really light you up when it comes to what experience might that be?
Maybe it's okay. I haven't spent any time thinking about this, so like I'll just brainstorm it with you. This is a great coaching moment. Okay.
Let the moment happen, Lisa.
Let it happen.
Be in it. Go ahead. What would it be like?
Masterpiece. Okay. So I am creating a keynote that I'm delivering in July called Masterpiece. And I'm also presenting that, a variation of that at Colgate University for staff there in April. And I, I've done speaking, for a while, but what I want to do now, or what I'm doing now, is creating the keynote, the presentation, the workshop that brings together all the elements that I've been working on, and brings people together and helps them to get to the next level. So there's the coaching, and then there's like the speaking and workshops. And I just haven't had the bandwidth to really focus on that. I'm making a time for it here and there, and deadlines are great because I'm doing this at Colgate April 2nd or something like that. And then I'm doing this at a conference in July. So masterpiece is, what are all the pieces of you that make you a masterpiece? And let's stop and really identify those, acknowledge those, see how those make you the person that you are, the wonderful person that you are. And then let's talk about how to use those to elevate your life so that you can do more and you can impact even more people. So masterpiece.
Yeah. I felt an energy shift in you when you said masterpiece, and it was almost like the mic drop, or like masterpiece. Like, what makes masterpiece so exciting to you?
I think this comes back to my my non-traditional career path, and the same with the people that I love to work with, is like, what are all those things that you've done? They fit together somehow. People who are not such creative thinkers might have a hard time seeing how they all fit together, but I see it. Like, it's so clear to me that you were able to do this deal that no one else could see because of your amazing background, right? So, it excites me to be able to bring my vision into helping people to develop their vision. And so what would be cool about this would be to bring together CEOs, people who have founded companies. I guess that's sort of been in the back of my mind. I just haven't really thought about what do I do to grow that, to make that happen. So that might be the next, thing. That might be the next level for me. I'm not ready to take it on energetically at that level. I need to go through the steps, but
what about it makes it cool for you? Just to understand that more.
I think to bring together a group of founders who are doing, who each have their own vision, who are doing really interesting things that those people are energized about the work that they're doing. That's an energetic explosion there. Wow. That room could just explode. How fun to bring together people who are like-minded in their ideas, that they don't set limits for themselves, or they work to actively identify the limits they've set for themselves so that they can bust through them. And it would just be fun to be in that room and help to grow some new ideas.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really interesting, but energetically, there's an energy to this idea. And masterpiece, I love how you even have a framework around this here, or like a container for all that there. I mean, our whole conversation started out with me going out and getting a whole group of people to just go and sing randomly on the street.
Right?
but I know I get the gift that you have, because it's part of the gift that I like to bring out for others. It's like everything that you've done is important. And if you're able to figure out how they all fit together, the other part that's really great about you is that you're also really able to distill out what's in someone's zone of excellence versus someone's zone of genius. And then I'm hearing that there's an energy it almost feels like there's a creative energy that you love to tap into by bringing everyone all into the room there. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. There's, the synergy word, the corporate synergy word, right? Like when you get a bunch of creative people together, what can happen? It's the sky's the limit. I tell you where this comes from is that one of my clients said about me that she said, Lisa sees each person's life as a beautiful mosaic. She helps us to see the parts of ourselves and how they fit together in a beautiful mosaic. And I was like, wow, I guess that is what I do. It's a pretty cool way of describing it, like a mosaic. And then I heard that Jessie J song, Masterpiece. Do you know it?
I don't, but I will go listen to it after this.
Go listen to it. It's a super cool song. And then I'm like, that's it. And that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. There's, when you were saying this here, it reminds me of I was recently got a chance to coach and executive that was at a Fortune 50 company. And the question on his mind right there was, okay, I've done all these things. I've gotten to this part in my path and everyone else wants me to continue there. But
Yeah.
he had a very non-conventional path in his life. And he's like, I want to go off and do something different now.
Yeah.
And what came up there was like the idea of personal branding. And there's something around how you describe masterpiece in this conversation that makes me really like think about all the different ways that this concept can be brought in for people in a very meaningful way. Even just like a
Right.
small group, small gathering of these CEOs, a small gathering of these founders, just to get them all into play.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be really fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, I thank you for sharing your vision of Masterpiece with me. I'm finding myself, I'm like, I want to make sure that in the future I get a chance to continue to explore that with you, like just to see what it is that I can feel like right now it's in its development stages.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that looks at this and says, great, like I have a platform here. The way I like to work with my trailblazers is to give them an opportunity to use that in whatever way, shape, or form continues to serve them. So to whatever
Cool.
extent it makes sense to that you like to experiment or play around with some of the ideas in Masterpiece, or you know, if I can think about some founders or things that I have to bring them in and give them an opportunity to be to experience what it is that you do, that it just comes naturally to you. Let me know. I would love to collaborate with you. I'd love to like have our energies continue to grow with one another as well.
Sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on the show today. I always appreciate your smile and your energy and your positivity. And, you know, you're just a bright, shining light in the world.
Thank you.
We
very
need more
much.
people like you.
You know what? I think the thing is, like, as long as those who are ready to shine their light or in a position to do it, it will happen. That's my thing. So thank you for being one of those people, and thank you for helping people understand that how their light already is shining. Like that's
Yeah,
part of what I
that's
get
the
about
thing.
Masterpiece. It's like everyone is shining. We may not actually realize that it's shining so brightly.
And, you know, one more thing about that, I just want to add, if I might, is it's not just your accomplishments. It's not just those things you put on your resume. It's the challenges that you've been through.
Mm.
You know, it's the health struggles, it's the business struggles, it's the family struggles. All those things help us to become more and more of the masterpiece that we are.
Yeah.
It all has value.
I find myself in this moment here really curious about your masterpiece story, right? Like when you say the struggles and all that stuff, it really really stands up because like you are someone who shines really brightly, and like you're someone who can be like, I'm wearing a sparkly dress and I'm having a lot of fun and this would be cool and there's energy and you know, which is cool.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but it's also very easy to miss like some of the challenges or the struggles or anything else that comes in there. And I
Right.
found like, as you brought that up, I was like, yeah, it's on that level that I'd love to connect with you. It's on that level that I'd love to like see where it is. Cause I get the light part of it. I'd love to also be able to see all of that there. So as you're going through and things like that, I just feel it really would be magical. Well, Lisa, we'll end the conversation here. I am thrilled that we got to spend our time together, and we'll take it off from here, all right?
Thanks.